Coming to you straight from the Rio Grande and beyond. Broadcasting to the four corners of the globe. So grab your seat, your coffee, or your sundowner.
Okay, everybody, here we go.
On point, as always. This is Gloves Off. Gloves Off.
We're back at you in Gloves Off. I'm Professor Buitron. I'm here with Sifu Bob Fitzgerald, and we're touching base on Kenpo and how Kenpo has touched us and how Kenpo is for the modern world and how folks can go out there and see a different side of this martial art that has many people have practiced in the United States for a good while. Sifu, how that's the question. How did you find Kenpo?
Well, it started with Mark Shipman in Philadelphia. Like I said, I was trying to recover from a back injury and always wanted to train. But I really did fall in love with it while training with Mark Shipman. But I really, Frank Trejo really opened my eyes to it. I try and explain to people, what's the difference of training with somebody like Frank Trejo, and try and say it without putting anybody else down. The man could make everything. You look at something and, some of it, somebody will explain it one way and it'll look like you're trying to unravel the mysteries of the universe and have the rocket science up on a chalkboard, and go to Frank Trejo and he'll give you the same solution, and it's 2 + 2 = 4. And he changed the way I saw Kenpo in minutes. When I met him, my life's goal wasn't to be a Kenpoist forever. And it didn't take much more than a couple of days. One of the things when I moved out to Hollywood with Frank, my major focus, I was going to get into movies and TV, but I was going to put that off. When Frank offered to teach me, I came out a year ahead of time, what I was planning. And by the time my first year was up, I was spending more time training than I was on my acting career.
And it's funny to see, because I got into Kenpo in a roundabout way, but I was very lucky. The Sifu that started me off, and through him I met many greats. My Sifu was Keith C, and I was with him probably 21, 22 years. When he passed on. A couple of years later, I brought down Frank Trejo, kind of like a surprise gathering, because one of my older brothers under Keith, Greg Rinnes, was they had both Frank and him had taught and learned at the Pasadena school back in 70 to 73. So they were very good friends, and they hadn't seen each other for a long time. And it happens, and we got everybody together. I remember Jeff Dukes came down, and we had a seminar and kind of like a little reunion. And Frank pulls out my son, which now he's going to be 17, and he was 5 at the time, maybe 4 going on 5, and 5, and he grabs him, puts him on the mat, and he started doing Kenpo, and I think he was like 10 when Frank got very ill, and he had just given my son a purple belt, and my son used to call him Uncle Frank, like he does Huck and stuff like that. It's a big family, and what Frank had and you're right, had a type of explaining that all the mysteries of Kenpo just ended up into, look, it's either this or don't do it at all. This is the way
Yeah.
it's done. Yeah, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
You're
Enough of
thinking
that.
too much. It's just a punch is something he'd say a
you
lot.
know, and I laugh because you would see that, you'd be like, okay, understood, and then he'll insert certain things that were in there, and he said, okay, let's just try this, and then okay, I understand, and you're always learning in Kempo, and everybody like you said, everybody teaches it differently, everybody has it, but you might grab something from somebody over here because they were doing it, and opens up a whole chapter in your mind of things to do.
Yeah.
And I think all the first generation have that piece of the puzzle for Kempo. And along the line, they pass it on to somebody else and they pick it up, but there's a lot of great individuals out there that are very capable. But you are correct. Now, here's the story. If you were Frank, more likely Frank to me liked to hang around with people that fought in the ring, understood what fighting was.
Absolutely.
More likely he was pushing you to fight.
Yeah, but he didn't have to push too hard. What we teach in Kenpo going on in it is the grappling and the striking combined. But one of the things that turns everybody off is the marketing. That's no good. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and not going to knock Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It's good stuff. But, saying that because somebody does Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, they get punched in the face, it's not going to hurt anymore. A punch in the face has hurt for thousands of years. It's going to hurt for thousands of years. Getting knocked out still stops you from doing stuff. In reality, you break somebody's arm, they're not going to be able to do much to fight back either. So I think there's a little bit of a marketing thing, because MMA is, there was a time everybody wanted to be a boxer, but not everybody can be a boxer. Some people have that skill set, some don't, and that's what I like about Kenpo. Whatever your skill set is, you're going to get something out of it. Some people just can't get the grappling down. I've seen people try and work the same simple joint locks 1,000 times and still just can't work them. The same thing with a punch. Some people will never be able to make a proper fist and hit somebody without hurting themselves.
You're absolutely correct. And not everybody in Kenpo is going to be a fighter. And not everybody, what I mean by fighter, not everybody in Kenpo is going to go inside the ring. Understand? Yeah. There was a time frame I remember, and what I would see, because of my Sifu going in there, and also Sifu Frank, is that every time you saw them, they were capable. They were individuals that were capable of taking care of themselves. I met Sifu Frank later on in my life, but I was in my 40s when I met him. But my Sifu, I grew up with him since I was 17. And I met GM Huck Planis and the Bounty and all those guys. I met him through him. A lot of great Kenpo guys, Mike Pick and a lot of his crew, and you would see people that were very, very capable of taking care of a situation in the street. Very, very capable. Those are people that you admired and you wanted to be around. Then, at that time frame that I was in, I was still fighting in the ring. At one time I was third in the world in Salat, super middleweight division. I blew my hand in an accident, and I had 11 reconstructive surgeries. And Kenpo brought my hand back to function, as per se. Learning how to condition it and all everything else, and that's what people do not have. back then you used to get folks like yourself and the first generations. They used to do a lot of conditioning. The majority of them, the majority. They used to do a lot of conditioning. They knew how to hit. If they hit you, you knew exactly that there was somebody there. You know, there's people now that they hit you and you're like trying to figure out what weight they are, you know. But
Yeah.
back then, somebody that was 150 pounds can hit you like somebody was weighing 220. And you know what I'm saying? So somebody
Yeah.
that was 220 can hit you like somebody weighing 300. And it was a different type of 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 fighter. I wouldn't say an animal, but a fighter, you know. And you saw that in the first, and you see that in the majority of the first generation, and you see that with a lot of the second generations, and it kind of starts dissipating, and the natural progression, right? But I think Kempo, a lot of individuals look and downplay Kempo now because of the MMA,
Yeah.
because of the other stuff that comes out there. I mean, you take a shot to the face with somebody that's has that intent to taking you out. In Kempoist, breaks your arm and takes that jaw from you. There's no grappling anymore. There's no that edge is not going to be there. Remember, there's a difference between reality and there's a difference between the combative sports like MMA and boxing and savate and so on and so forth, and your competitive sports like point karate and fencing, and it's different realms. And when I met my Sifu, I wanted to be what I wanted to be. You know what I'm saying? I grew up in a town that was always fighting, and it didn't fight one. You fought two, three at once. You know what I'm saying? You came up and you find these individuals that were also that way, and you learn from folks that could beat you up. You didn't go to the guy teaching taekwondo down the corner and you can beat him up any given day. You know what I'm saying? You went for the, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what I got out of it. And it kind of mellows you out, kind of tones you, kind of forges you.
Yeah, I always liked sparring the guys that could kick my butt. But I also learned quite a bit from the white belts.
No,
the white belt's going to hit you in a way that they're going to hit you wrong, and it's going to land.
You know, I had a good friend of mine that was a CLAT instructor, and he goes, "Give your daughter a plastic baseball bat and tell her to come at you and try to disarm her." 5 years old. I mean, they're going to hit you from areas that you don't even think of, you know. And people are expecting, and poof, it comes from on top or it comes from, you know what I'm saying? So it's different.
Absolutely.
You know, and
yeah,
and I
he
think
definitely wanted to focus on the ring fighting. We did a lot of we never shied away from the practical Kenpo, but he definitely wanted me sparring, getting in the ring, doing Muay Thai, and old school too. You were talking earlier about conditioning. When we were doing our push-ups, it wasn't on a nice mat and doing it military style. No, it was on the knuckles, on the cement. And if somebody were to come in and say, "Oh, you guys aren't serious," you always had a notepad to send them someplace else. Yeah, you're not gonna like it here. I'll send you. They got a nice air-conditioned gym. You'll like it. They got pads and everything.
you know, and that's the way it was. You know, I remember it was just that. Either you fell in love with Kenpo when you felt the love of Kenpo, you know, by somebody else doing a technique, or something, you got thumped around, or you walked off the mat and you never came back. And that's the way you know, and you build those bone rollers. You know, Frank was one. They're out there, you know, and may God have them in a good place. I know that he's smiling through us when teaching, through you when you teach. I see that, that energy, and it's good to see. Sometimes when I'm teaching, you kind of sit back and kind of, you know, feel a different energy that's inside the school, and you know that they're watching, that they're paying attention, they're kind of guiding you, and that's just the way it is. We have to continue pushing forward. We can't stop.
Yeah, Frank left behind some great guys. In the last couple of months, he started talking a lot about Sabora Chan and Dan Meck. He said Sabora had it, and Dan's got all his moves. We were having a conversation about where things were going next. Of course, I didn't realize what he was talking about at the time because everybody said he had a couple of close calls, but the last conversation we had, he was obviously trying to tell me, I'm going on, and he wanted to keep things rolling, but they already had the Brotherhood of Kenpo started. He also encouraged me to fight my leukemia naturally. He told me I had tougher fights in his backyard. He was laughing when he said it, but he right up to the very last phone call, he was encouraging me to fight.
Always, always, always. And we'll get together soon. I promise. Let this bad flu fly past us, and we'll get together. You'll come down here and spread some more love of Kenpo.
I look forward to that.
We'll do that. We'll do that. That'll be a promise. We'll get that going.
Frank shared a lot of stuff with me that he shared certain things with certain people, and I know he shared some things with me that everybody seems to be surprised and never heard him. But then there's also Israel Gamino, his brother-in-law Paul Bassett, Walter Rodriguez, Dave Menifee. He gave certain things to certain people, I guess a lot like Mr. Parker did. And I definitely want to, I see his picture up there. I definitely want to share what he gave me. It's not mine to keep.
Absolutely. And we'll get together. We'll get together soon and compare, just move forward.
I love that.
I want to thank you for always being that friend, and also for keeping Kenpo moving forward. And I know that sometimes, and especially right now with the situation that we're in, the crisis, I know a lot of schools are going down, but I think right now is the time that we should start picking those students and start passing stuff off.
Absolutely. Arts have survived for an awful long time to let it disappear because of something stupid like this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Sifu, my brother, we'll see you soon. Okay?
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you again. Be safe.
Today, in America, more than 5.5 million men, women, and children train in a martial art regularly. Bowie Tarun Academy has been serving Laredo for over 30 years now. Our adult classes are geared for producing the best in you, teaching you street-ready techniques. With the arts of Savat and Kenpo, you'll learn the traditions of these sciences of combat as passed down professor to student.
Hello everybody, my name is Senior Grandmaster Alfredo Bandalan, owner of BDP, Bandalan the Sea Parties. I'd like to say a few words on Grandmaster Paul Buitron. He's a man of great integrity, a man of great knowledge of martial art. He's a master of Savat and master of Eskrima. He's a man that can help you to become what you want to be. He's a man that teaches people how to be somebody in life, how to work the world, how to be happy in this world. He's a man that I can say holds many integrity as well as in martial art. But I'd like to say this man has a radio station, does hunting all over the world, and he works with all kind of people, all walks of life. All I want to say, that Paul Buitron is a man that can help people to be somebody in life. I'd like to say aloha, thank you.
I am Grandmaster Michael Duran of Original Hironis Criminal Federation here in Vallejo, California. Professor Paul Buitron is an accomplished martial artist who has developed an understanding that as a caretaker in our martial arts, it is his responsibility to keep the art alive and in depth. He acknowledged that it is the students that give the art life. I hold his friendship and his continuing accomplishments in the art in the most highest regard. Thank you.
Come train at the Best Kept Secret of Laredo. Give us a call for your free evaluation at 956-401-4868 or check out our website at savat.biz. Follow us on YouTube and Facebook.